Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm the founder of Lauren Streb Coaching. Thank you for your interest in the executive and leadership coaching services that I offer. This video is a brief introduction to how I work with clients, the problems I solve, and a little bit about my background. My hope is that after you see this content, if you decide that you'd like to connect further, you'll book a free call with me and we can talk about your personal situation and the results you're hoping to achieve by working with a coach. Okay, so let's dive in. I describe myself as a leadership growth coach. I support individual contributors, people managers, senior executives who are all trying to become more effective in their current role, in their current context. What's so often true of leaders at all these different stages is that they've gotten really good at some skills, but what has gotten them here won't get them where they want to go. I help clients get unstuck in their career development and in their leadership growth. Several factors often lead to this stuckness, and you may relate to some of these. There are those who are passionate about lifelong learning and growth, who've attended the workshops, read the books, done the assessments, but they don't feel like they're able to incorporate these changes in a consistent way in their leadership. They want to know what will make the change last. The second group of clients that I work with is often experiencing a lot of frustration. And I'm curious if some of these experiences feel familiar. They've often received feedback that is conflicting or confusing or too nice. They don't know what to do next. Sometimes they've received feedback from one stakeholder that praises a strength that another stakeholder said is a big opportunity for improvement for them. What do you do with that? Another situation they find themselves in is they may know where they want to grow, but their management team or the culture around them doesn't make it safe to explore the new behaviors, to talk about some of the challenges they're having. They feel like they need to show up perfectly or flawlessly, and they don't feel safe doing some of this inner work that's so necessary for lasting change. I'm here to help people get clear, to help them take a pulse, find out how they're perceived, find out what would be the most effective place for them to engage next. And from that perspective, we go on a coaching journey together that leads to greater career satisfaction, visibility, effectiveness, and perceived readiness for the next step they want in their lives. This coaching package that I've designed, that I call Next Level Leader, is usually a 9-month journey together. It has some key elements that really help the client have insights, pick a targeted area of growth, get continual feedback and visibility to what they're improving in, and then be able to measure and share what they're doing differently now to become even more effective in role and ready for future role. So we start with a 360-degree feedback tool that I'm especially fond of. The lens through which this feedback is shared is one of compassion and curiosity. Oh, here's some things you're doing very effectively. Here's some other areas where you could be more effective. When you're resourced and feeling really aligned, these are the strengths that you bring to the table that the organization really appreciates. When you're a little stressed or when the environment's difficult, you tend to fall back to these coping mechanisms and patterns. We all have them, right? Whether it's being overly perfectionistic or controlling or withdrawing to feel more safe or because you don't trust people around you. These normal human habits are all part of how we show up at work. And through this assessment tool, the debrief, our work together, you can work more consciously with those patterns and make choices to lead the way you want to more often than you did before. So in this 9-month journey, after we do the feedback debriefs, after we define the measurable leadership growth goals that you'd like to focus on, we kick off a group of 5 to 8 stakeholders who you would like to receive intermittent feedback from throughout the program. The great thing about this assessment format for this intermittent feedback is that it takes the assessor 5 minutes. It gives you quantifiable feedback about where they've seen growth. And there's also some free text fields for them to briefly say, keep this up. I've noticed this improvement, or I've noticed you're focusing on it, but it would be more effective if you did it this way. That allows us to course correct as we're planning our coaching journeys, we're having our coaching calls and practicing the behaviors you'd like to implement. And at the end of the session, it's really beautiful to see, here is my line of self-awareness. Here is my line of up-leveling the behaviors that I would most like to focus on. At the end of the 9 months, we wrap up our coaching discussions by talking through a report, by identifying the next steps you'd like to focus on, and by really celebrating everything that you did and tried and learned about yourself. So, a little about my background and how my experience helps me provide value for my coaching clients. For the first 14 years of my career, I was a leader in biotech. I managed teams, I worked in different functions, changing roles almost every 2 years. And in all this time, my favorite part of leadership was the one on one conversations with my employees or mentees, right? That moment to create safety, to help them feel heard, to be able to explore vulnerable performance topics, or just help them build out their own vision for what role they wanted their career to have in their life. I love that part so much that when I received executive coaching, I instantly recognized, oh, that's what I want to be doing. And it made sense. I'd been teaching yoga and meditation on the side. I really wanted a vocation where I could bring these holistic tools to help someone be their best. So almost 10 years ago, I created my own coaching business, and I've been working full time as a coach ever since. Um, it's incredibly fulfilling work. Such a privilege to get to be a part of someone's life, to help them meet their goals. So in those 9+ years, I've served over 400 clients. I've worked with leaders at big tech companies. I live halfway between San Francisco and Silicon Valley. Um, so I've supported leaders at Apple, Google, Meta, Amazon, Genentech, Pfizer, Gilead, Roche. I've worked with people in the entertainment industry, in Warner Brothers Discovery. I've supported people in fintech, and I've supported people in government roles and nonprofits. I've had the privilege of having the opportunity to support people doing all sorts of work. And some of those key leadership themes are always the same. People want to know before choosing to work with me as their coach if this program can create results for them. So, as examples of some of the experiences other clients have had, I have testimonials on my LinkedIn profile, on my website, and in this deck. And you can see different experiences people have had meeting their goals, becoming more clear about who they are and what they want, and testing, almost as a design thinking experiment. What happens when I show up this way in this meeting? Oh, that's interesting data. Great. Here's what I want to do next time differently. And how those little steps create really big results that get noticed. There are two packages I offer clients who are beginning with me. The first I call the Jumpstart. It's a chance for the leader to receive the 360 feedback, get a sense of how effectively they're showing up, get a sense of what they might be doing well that isn't yet noticed by others, and to begin that development journey. So, to support leaders who choose this package, I offer the 360 feedback, assessment, and debrief. We establish some development goals, and then we have some biweekly coaching calls to begin that process of self reflection and practice behavioral change. We talk about what makes change stick. We talk about how to design experiments to find out behaviors that will build impact and trust and visibility. For leaders who already know they want more support and a longer chance to grow and show change, I offer the Next Level Leader package. That is the 9 month journey with the 360 feedback, the goal setting, the 3 pulse feedback points from the key stakeholders so that we can dive deeper in coaching. You can practice more skills and behaviors. You can get more real-time feedback so that you aren't developing blind spots about the ways that your behaviors are perceived. And through this 9 month journey, clients are able to really accelerate their development, to be seen as consciously improving and evolving, and to become more clear on the future vision for how they would like to have an impact as a leader, for what work is most fulfilling for them, and how they want to grow in that direction. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I appreciate this opportunity to introduce myself and the work that I do. If it feels like there may be a fit, I would love to get to know you and have a free discovery call together. There's a link to book those calls on this slide deck, as well as on my LinkedIn profile and website. I hope to talk to you soon.